If you're here to practice trigonometry, then you're in the right place. We're going to do some application questions in order to test your knowledge in trigonometry. If you're not sure on how to do trigonometry, make sure you check out my explanation video and later on my exam prep video in the link down below. So let's have a look at this example here. We want to find the length of the diagonal AC, so this is the line here in the middle. And then we want to find the perimeter of this rectangle. So let's have a look at question A. We want to find the length of the diagonal, which is this length here in the middle. Now, how can we use trigonometry? We always need to make sure we have a right angle triangle. We know that we want to use this line that we want to find, the middle one, and we can kind of see that we have a right angle triangle over here because we know that in a rectangle, the side angles or the angles in the corners are always 90 degrees. So now where we have a triangle, we can use trigonometry. So what do? Well, we mark our hypotenuse, we mark the opposite and the adjacent. And remember, this is the angle that we're looking at. Now, using trigonometry here, we have our triangle and we want to find the side H. So this is what we're looking for. Well, how do we do that? Well, we want H and we have A. So this is CAH. So we write our triangle again, CAH. And what do we want to figure out? We want to figure out H. So we're going to cover up H and we can immediately write our answer. So we're going to get that AC, which is of course the length from one side to the other, is equal to A divided by C. So that means we have the adjacent, which is 8, divided by C, that is the cosine of our angle of choice. Okay, wonderful. So this is the angle. Let's put this into the calculator and see what we get. We're going to get a fraction and we're going to go 8 divided by cosine 35. Come on, please work. There we go. So we now get an answer of 9.7 or 9.8. Let's round just to one decimal place. Okay, now we found the first answer already. Now the second part here, part B, is asking us to find the perimeter of the rectangle. So if you guys remember, the perimeter is adding all of the sides together. So we have AB plus BC plus CD plus AD. And we're going to add all those lengths together. Well, we've already got AB and we've already got DC because we know in a rectangle, the opposite sides are of the same length. So what we still need to find is we need to find CB and AD. Well, using the triangle that we've already got here, that means we want to find the opposite. So let's have a look. If we want to find the opposite, but we have been given A, that is TOA. So let's write down our triangle, TOA. And what do we want to find? We want to find the opposite. So let's cut that out. Then we have the opposite, which is BC, is equal to T times A. T is, of course, the tan of the angle in question. And then we multiply by A, which is 8. Right, let's get our calculator out. Sorry if that doesn't fit perfectly on the screen. So we're going to get tan of 35 multiplied by 8. So we have 5.6. Okay, so we have equal to 5.6. So what we know now is that the sides are 5.6 on both sides. So now we can write down our equation for the perimeter. We have 8, then we have 5.6, we have 8 again, and we have 5.6. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Getting a little bit tight here in space. I've been writing quite big. So let's chuck that into the calculator and get our answer. Remember, it doesn't matter in which order we do this because it is both plus is commutative, so we can change the order. So we get 27.2 units squared, or I guess in this case, centimeters. Oh, not squared, sorry, centimeters. We're not looking for the area. Okay, wonderful. If you need extra support with your studying, join our free Discord community where you can ask questions, get help, and even request me directly for one-on-one tutoring. Inside the Discord, you'll also find a full resource hub with worksheets, study guides across different subjects, and I highly recommend checking out my website where I've put together full courses organized in order so you won't miss any of the topics. You'll find both links to the Discord and the full courses right below in the description. Let's get to the next example, which is finding the area of this parallelogram. Well, if we remember, in order to find an area, we need to figure out what shape we have, and then according to the shape, find the correct formula. So in this case, we have a parallelogram, which is going to be base times height. Very similar to rectangle, because technically, if you think about it, this piece here, we can put over here, and then what we have is a rectangle. But what that means is we need to find the height of this 2D shape, which is h over here. This is what we need for our formula. Our base is already given to us, which is 10, which is nice. So we can write the area is 10 times h. So now we have to figure out what the height is. So how can we do this? Again, what we need to do is we need to figure out a triangle where we can then use h and find that. We already have been given this side here, and we've been given this angle. So what we could probably do is just cut this piece off over here, and we know that this is going to be on a right angle because the height is always on a right angle. So we have the height over here as well. Okay, let's have a look at our triangle. We always do the same thing. We mark the hypotenuse, we mark the opposite, and the adjacent. And we can see for our angle with 50 degrees, we have been given h, and we want to find O. So h and an O is SOH. Let's write that down. And we're going to cover the one that we want to find. So let's cross out the opposite over here. And then we're going to get our answer, h, which is equal to sine of the angle of interest multiplied by the hypotenuse, which is 6. Let's get our calculator out to finish this question. We're going to go sine 50 times by 6 is going to give us 4.6. We're just going to round to 1 decimal places for most of our questions. I expect that if the question tells you a certain rounding, that you know how to do that one. So now we have everything together. Now we can finalize our equation for the area, which was 10 as the base times by the height, which is 4.6, which gives us 46 centimeters squared. Okay, let's do something a little bit more difficult. Find out how far the boat is away from the lighthouse. So we have a boat here and a lighthouse, and we want to have a look how much the distance is. So what we're interested in is this, which is the distance of the boat. The distance of the boat. There we go. Now, again, everything in real life that we build is often in a right angle, so we can use trigonometry here. Here, what we have is the height of this cliff with the lighthouse together with the sea level, creating a right angle. And then, of course, here this angle where the person in the lighthouse is, where the person is sitting there and looking at the boat, yeah, that completes our right angle triangle. So we can use trigonometry. Now, we do need to have an angle, yeah? So, and in order to do this, let's have a look. We already have been given an angle here at the top. But how do we now use this angle in our triangle? Well, what we could actually do is we could switch our triangle to become this triangle. Again, here, this part here is our distance. And on the opposite side, this is the height of the lighthouse and the cliff. So this side would be 30 plus 100 meters. So we have 130 meters. Now the distance is what we want to find. Let's keep our green triangle. I'm going to get rid of our red one so we have more space. And let's have a look. We're going to mark the hypotenuse. We're going to mark the opposite and the adjacent. And of course, we're looking at this angle of depression over here. Depression just means that the angle is looking down from the horizontal. Now, for this triangle, what do we have? We have been given O, We want A, so that's going to be TOA. TOA, put a box around it, or sorry, put a triangle around it. Okay, what do we want to find? We want to find the distance, which is A. So we're going to cover A, and we're going to write down our answer. The distance, let's call this distance D. Yeah, the distance that we want, which is our adjacent, is O divided by T. O is 130 divided by tan of the angle that we're talking about. And we can put this in the calculator and see what we get. We have a fraction 130 divided by tan 35. Okay, there we go. Oops, what's happening? 185.7. And of course, the unit is meters because everything in the question is in meters. Okay, wonderful. Now, when you guys look at these questions, I always need you guys to remember you need a right angle triangle for trigonometry. Now, you always have to look for these in the application questions, so try and figure out where your right angle triangle is, because that is going to be key to solving this question. Once you've found where your triangle is, it is a simple question of calculating the correct side.